Imagine waking up every morning knowing your assets are growing all by themselves, banks are happy to lend you money to live tax-free, and your wealth can pass on to your children almost completely untouched. Now, this isn't some fantasy or a trick you'd find in a shady tax haven. It's a 100% legal strategy called buy, borrow, die, and it's how billionaires often pay less in taxes than the average worker. Today, I'm going to break this down for you, step by step, with real-world examples. Stick with me until the very end, because I'll show you how you might be able to adapt parts of this strategy for yourself. And hey, if you want more financial truths that can change everything, make sure you subscribe. Most people work for a paycheck, and that paycheck gets taxed every single time it hits their bank account. Meanwhile, the ultra-rich are building fortunes that the government can't easily touch. How? Think about figures like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos. They often pay lower effective tax rates than a taxi driver, not because they're hiding money, but because their strategy is completely different. They don't sell their assets. They let them grow and then borrow against them. In this video, we're pulling back the curtain on buy, borrow, die. We'll explore how they buy assets, borrow money to live on, and then pass on their wealth without the taxman taking a massive slice. Let's look at the fundamental problem. You sell your time for money, and before you even see it, 30, 40, maybe even 50% is gone in taxes. They, on the other hand, buy assets that quietly increase in value year after year, and they pay nothing on those gains. The tax code is designed to reward ownership, not transactions. You see, unrealized gains, that's the growth in your assets before you sell them, aren't taxed. So while you're reporting your income and paying your share, their stocks, real estate, or private companies are silently multiplying in value over decades with no tax bill in sight. So how do they do it? It all starts with step 1. Buy. The goal is to build wealth tax-free. They focus on buying growth assets, the kind that don't typically pay out dividends. Think tech stocks, commercial real estate, or stakes in private businesses. These assets are chosen for their potential to compound at impressive rates, maybe 10 to 20% per year. Let me give you an example. Imagine you invest $1 million back in the year 2000. By 2025, thanks to compounding, that investment could be worth $10 million. That's $9 million in pure profit, but because you never sold, you owe absolutely zero in taxes on that gain. The key insight here is to stop chasing high salaries, which come with high taxes. Instead, the focus is on investing first, letting time do the heavy lifting, and allowing your wealth to compound silently in the background. This brings us to the most fascinating part. Step 2. Borrow. How do the rich live their lavish lifestyles without selling their assets and triggering a huge tax bill? Simple. They borrow against their assets. Private banks absolutely love lending to them. Why? Because their massive portfolios of stocks or real estate are rock-solid collateral. These banks will typically lend 50 to 70% of an asset's value at incredibly low interest rates, often just 2 to 4%. And here's the kicker. A loan is not considered taxable income. So they use this borrowed cash to fund everything, their private jets, their mansions, their yachts, or even to make more investments. And as long as their assets are growing faster than the interest on their loans, their net worth continues to climb. Think about that. While you pay 40% in taxes before you can spend your salary, they are spending tax-free debt. When the markets go up and their portfolio value increases, they just refinance, borrow more, and keep the cycle going. So, why does this strategy work for decades on end? What happens when the market crashes? Well, unlike the average person who might panic and sell at a loss, they don't. They have access to liquidity from their loans, so they can simply wait it out. They hold on, let the market recover, and then refinance their loans later when their asset values have bounced back. The banks are perfectly happy with this arrangement. They have great collateral, and the interest paid on the loan is often tax-deductible for the borrower, which can lower their taxable income even further if they have any. The result is that they can remain technically in debt for their entire lives, but their net worth can grow tenfold or more over the decades, all while living a tax-free lifestyle funded by borrowing. Now for the final and perhaps most mind-blowing step. Die. This is where the strategy becomes truly powerful for passing on generational wealth. At the moment of death, a legal rule called the step-up in basis comes into play. This rule effectively resets the cost basis of all their assets to the current market value. All those decades of untaxed capital gains are completely wiped away, forever. Let's go back to our example. Those stocks that were bought for $100,000 and are now worth $10 million at the time of death. The heirs inherit those stocks with a brand new cost basis of $10 million. This means they can turn around and sell those stocks the very next day for $10 million and pay absolutely zero in capital gains tax. They use a small portion of the proceeds to pay off the old loans, keep the rest of the fortune, and are now perfectly positioned to start the buy, borrow, die cycle all over again. When you look at it all together, you can see the system is structured in a way that punishes visible labour and rewards patient, long-term wealth building. It might not feel fair, but now you understand exactly how it works. So what can you do? You can start small. Focus on investing in long-term diversified assets like ETFs. The most important thing is to avoid the temptation to sell frequently. As your portfolio grows over many years, you can begin to explore using it as collateral for loans if the need arises. It's a powerful mindset shift from earning to owning. I'm curious to know your thoughts. Drop a comment below and let me know. Would you ever try a version of this strategy? If you found this insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more truths about money that the system doesn't always want you to know. Thanks for watching.